Hello everybody and welcome to the Sunday Notebook, the qualifying and race notebook from the 2024 São Paulo, don't call it the Brazilian Grand Prix in Brazil. Well, turned out nice, hasn't it? Turned out nice again. Look at that. I can even see the swamps. Not the swamps, the lakes. But because this circuit is built on a swamp, or rather between the lakes, or land that was considered unsuitable for housing, you do get the bumps. And the bumps have certainly played their part today, as has the weather. And, well, if we came off the titles with Crofty's famous and Max Verstappen champion of the world quote, I think we can probably be assume in the knowledge that we're not going to have to get Crofty to revoice the titles for next year's titles, are we? So I think whoever makes our titles, God bless them, we're not going to have a big re-edit, because I don't think it's going to be, and Lando Norris, champion of the world. I mean, it might do, but stranger things have happened, but strange things would really have to happen, wouldn't they, in Las Vegas, Qatar and Abu Dhabi, the final three races of the championship, the triple header in a couple of weeks' time for Max Verstappen, for Lando Norris to win the championship, and for Max Verstappen now not to win the championship. In fact, have we seen the sort of deciding of both championships today, with McLaren taking a few points, not maybe as many as they would have liked off Ferrari, but a few points off Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship? Well, maybe. Wow, look at the traffic getting out of here. And everybody has been here from the personnel side. Everyone's been here since sort of 4:45, 5 a.m. and I think is ready to go home. And the fans started coming in. Well, there were a good few fans when we arrived at 5:42 a.m. Brazilian time. There were a good few, sort of 300 or 400 fans waiting to get in, and the fans have come in as well. So I'm glad they're going home now. I'm glad they've seen a race, and well done Formula One and the FIA for actually making it happen, as they say. Because in the end, I mean, they could have actually run the Grand Prix now, because it would go from damp to dry, because it hasn't rained. But we had the excitement of qualifying and the race in the sort of rainy, sort of drying out conditions. And for the first time since the 23rd of June 2024, Max Verstappen has won a Grand Prix. Actually, here's Giedo Van Der Garde, who is the Giedo Van Der Garde. I spent half term in Amsterdam, and I realised that I was probably pronouncing Giedo Van Der Garde in a very bad way. Extra stroopwafel for Max Verstappen today.
Wow, yes. Yeah, incredible results. Unbelievable. I mean, I have to say, he really surprised me. It came from far, and we know also from...
Surprised you, really?
Yeah. I mean, we know he's good. We know that he's fast in these conditions, but he really surprised me.
Okay. Why? Because you didn't think from 17th, even in these conditions, after the first couple of laps, and when he was moving in, he was 10th. He was up to P10 by lap 3. And then I thought, oh, well, he's probably going to win.
You never know. Of course, there was a little bit of luck with the red flag, but on the other hand, he did an amazing job. And if you saw the last few laps, it was the old Max again. And I think also we know, well, I know the Max Verstappen family very well because I used to work with Jos. Yeah. But when you get him angry, he's on his best.
Are you on the KLM flight, leaving at 8 p.m?
No, I'm flying tomorrow. Okay. So tonight I'm going to a little small party.
Let me tell you, Jos has already gone, because I think he's getting the KLM flight.
Yeah.
And that doesn't wait. I know to my cost.
I know. All the best, guys.
All right, thanks a lot. So extra stroopwafel for one of those nice ones with the caramel dripping out the side for Giedo Van Der Garde, Jos Verstappen and Max Verstappen. And you've got to say, Max loves Brazil, not only the circuit, but he also loves the people in the country. Bear in mind, of course, that his partner is Kelly Piquet, and he spends holidays down here as well. I think that's what made it sort of extra special. And they said on the radio, it's been a long time coming. You deserves it. And of course, he used the red flag to make his pit stop and all of that. And I wonder how much he used the red flag and the whole thing about, what are we going to call it, gate, red flag gate in qualifying. which meant that, well, explained that why he was starting P17 in the first place. I think he used it to motivate himself. When I saw him leave the grid, he had that really sort of walking up with a little umbrella, and his sort of shoulders were sort of slightly curled underneath. And I think, if I know Max Verstappen even half well, he uses all that to motivate himself. Because he did say, didn't he, the emotions were a roller coaster today. But used all that stuff to motivate. He was on a mission today. Max Verstappen was definitely on a mission. And yeah, what a great race. And as I say, from lap 3, when he was up to P10, I think you could say, well, you know, he was just going to hold on and on and on, and made the right call. Did the strategy team led by Hannah Schmitz, now that Will Courtney is on his way to McLaren. They made the right call by not being tempted for a new Inter, even in the terrible conditions, managing to hold out until the inevitable red flag. But stayed out, got free change on the red flag, as I say. Ocon got a good restart, but Max took the lead and never looked back, won by 19 seconds. Sergio Perez, P11 today, spun and continued on lap 2. He was stuck in P17. He gambled for a full wet, which was the right choice for about 3 laps or 2.5 laps. And it helped him stay in the race, but long term it was the wrong time tyre to be on. He changed that back in the red flag stoppage, but then dropped to P14. Tried to close on Lewis Hamilton eventually, but couldn't. Finished 7/10 behind him. So Hamilton was 10th and Sergio Perez 11th. And when they stop partying at Red Bull, the Sergio Perez questions will continue as to what they do for the rest of the season. I'd be surprised if they boot out Perez before the end of the season. Now that it looks like they're not going to have a sort of wobble on the Drivers' Championship, and that Max is going to wrap that up, could even wrap it up at the next race in Las Vegas. So I'd be surprised if they make that Sergio Perez decision when they don't really need to. They don't really care where they're going to finish in the Constructors. You know, they're not going to win the Constructors anyway, Red Bull Racing. But I just think that Sergio will at least see out the season. Right, let's do Mercedes, which is not a very happy place today, because Lewis Hamilton has said of all the recent bad Mercedes that he's raced, that was a disastrous weekend, and that's the worst this car has ever been. After the race, George Russell was a little bit more conciliatory and to the team, was saying, well, listen, thanks for all the mechanics, for all your hard work over the last 3 weeks, which is certainly the case. They did score some points, but they're still under investigation for the tyre pressure adjustment on the grid when those tyres were still, I don't know if those tyres exactly, were still fixed to the car, which is strange in a way that the mechanics did that, because they know the rules pretty well, don't they? And Ron Meadows, the sporting director, knows the rules. He would have known that you're not allowed to do that. But in any case, even if they didn't get it done, even if it was just a slip of the hand by a mechanic here or there, they should have known they weren't going to do it. And also, they're under investigation because George Russell, like Lando Norris and the 2 Toro Rossos, was an amber gambler and messed up the start procedure. Their argument is that the FIA might have messed it up as well, and that there's certainly Lando Norris and McLaren's argument as well. But gambling by going past the amber lights while not having the green ones tends to be something that is punished. So I would be surprised, and stay tuned to our Instagram and X, whatever it's called, and Sky Sports News for the details. I'd be surprised if George Russell gets to keep 4th, and I'd be surprised if Lewis Hamilton gets to keep 10th, if only for the tyre pressure adjustment thing on the grid. Russell jumped Norris off the start line and led. So you remember, George Russell did actually lead this race for a while, seems a long time ago now. Crucial, because of the bigger wing on Lando Norris, wasn't overtaken by the McLaren. But both struggled with the brakes. Lewis Hamilton said, I can't stop the car. George Russell said before the race that these brakes are 200 degrees colder than they should be. Lewis was full of disappointment and disappointing messages on the radio. Bleep this bleep, he said on the radio about the car. Finished, was running P11, he's got no rear, closed on Liam Lawson but couldn't get past. Liam Lawson was 9th, Lewis Hamilton was 10th, and George Russell P4 couldn't get past, close to Gasly, finished 7/10 behind him. And I think you can reflect that the best thing that came out of today, in fact the best thing that came out of this weekend for Lewis Hamilton, was driving the McLaren MP44, Ayrton Senna's McLaren with the famous number 12 number on the front. Or was it number 27? Anyway, it was absolutely beautiful. And when after Lewis had done, so well done them, McLaren, for having some wet tyres, when Lewis had finished the giving it plenty part of the demonstration, then he actually managed to stop, find a marshal, and then get the Brazilian flag and ride around with it, with the flag fluttering in the background. So it was really reminiscent of when Senna did that. And I tell you, there was not a dry eye in the house. Right, we're going to do Ferrari, and then we're going to take a break with a nice Max interview that we're going to lead to the break. Okay, so let's do Ferrari, because we need to go into the pit lane, because it's the Alpine photo. So to give us time to do that, I want to play you this Max interview, which just sums up how happy a day was that it's going to do that. But let's do Ferrari first, because it's pretty quick to say, because Sainz was a DNF and Leclerc was P5, but might get a bit higher up with some penalties that we don't know about yet. So Leclerc was up to P5 at the start, then ran behind Ocon but couldn't pass, and was vulnerable to Max Verstappen, and it did indeed get done by the soon-to-be four-time world champion. Dropped back to P5. The pace was really bad, said Charles Leclerc about the Ferrari. And Sainz, starting from the pit lane, stuck behind Valtteri Bottas. I can't pass, and spun and clonked the barrier at Larantia. Tried to continue, but then he stopped. I will do quickly McLaren before we take a break and hear from Max. Lando Norris, not a good weekend. Well, you know, it's weird. It all went so well with a sprint race and in practice and in the dry, when the McLaren was by far the fastest car, but in the wet with a bigger rear wing, which really should have given them more downforce, didn't manage to do it, didn't manage to get it together, weren't particularly quick in the wet. Lando was P6 in the end, Oscar P8, still under investigation for being an amber gambler at the start, and not the start line procedure that should have been followed, and then lost P1 to Russell at the start, got close, but with a bigger rear wing and the higher downforce, struggled to overtake the Mercedes, couldn't do. Pitted with George Russell as the virtual safety car was ending. They weren't to know that was a mistake, because there was about to be a red flag where they could have had a free pit stop like Max Verstappen did and the two Alpines, but they had to do it because Lando was about to spear off the road. Well, he wasn't about to spear off the road, but it was better safe than sorry for Lando Norris to pit then, to ensure that he actually made it to the rest of the race, which of course he did. He got past George Russell at the wrong time, went off, so that was the mistake from Lando that he'll be kicking himself about. Rejoined at the restart. As for Oscar Piastri, got a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. Then Lando went off, as I said, on the Sainz safety car restart, down to P7. Oscar let Lando Norris through, and Piastri then eventually, with that 10-second penalty, dropped behind Yuki Tsunoda. Oi, oi, oi. After such a great start to the weekend and dominating the sprint race, which seems a long time ago now, McLaren have ended up the Grand Prix with a 6th and an 8th. And is that the end of Lando Norris's Drivers' Championship challenge? Well, I tell you what, let's hear what Max Verstappen has to say. So he was talking to Rachel, and then we'll take a break directly after that. Here's Max and Rachel.
Max, that was a phenomenal drive from you today. Tell me what that meant to you today, considering everything that's been going on, all the noise, the car you've been dealing with, everything. What did that mean?
It is definitely an emotional win. I mean, this morning, of course, I was very upset, and my emotions have been going from left to right today. So I surprised myself today to win here, to be honest. But we had a really good start. We stayed out of trouble. We made good overtakes. We were very fast. We've made the right calls with the red flag, to stay out. And after that, suddenly the rain just came down, and it was even undrivable on a wet tire. So the calls with the team as well. I know that they are super calm and just amazing in helping me as well. You know, from the pit wall, making the right decisions. And and in races like this, it's just massive to have that.
Why are you so good in these conditions? Because as I asked around and said to people, what's happened to the Red Bull? They're like, it's just Max in these conditions. Everyone felt it when they looked at the conditions for this race today, that Max could come through and win this from P17.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought I would win today. I had a good feeling that I could come forward. But I feel comfortable. I mean, of course, from a young age, I've been driving a lot in the wet together with my dad, with my best friends. We've been practicing a lot of different scenarios every time. And of course, I think naturally that makes you comfortable in these conditions. But on the other hand, the car still needs to work. It gave me confidence today. And of course, incredibly pleased with this result. It's just been an unbelievable race for us.
And a big relief for you in the Drivers' Championship and the team as well?
Yeah, I mean, relief. I mean, I was confident that we could do a good job, but this has been much better than anyone I think could expect today.
Hiya, welcome back to the race notebook from the 2024 São Paulo Grand Prix. Right, that was good to hear from Max Verstappen, wasn't he? He sounds like a happy boy as he's headed towards the championship number 4, and we kind of knew that he was going to win a race. Maybe we should have known that it was going to be this race when we knew it was going to be wet. The master in the wet, as he is, even from 17th on the grid. Right, we've made our way through into the pit lane, as you can see, because we are here to salute the Alpine team, the Enstone team, who've had an absolute shocker this year because they came to the first race after a terrible testing session. It was down on power, and then it turned out the car was much worse than last year's as well. The technical director, Matt Harmon, moved on. He's now at Williams. Various people were made responsible. Flavio came in after the Renault boss, Luca De Meo, said, I want Flavio back in charge. Put Ollie Oakes in charge, so said sayonara to... I've even forgotten his name now. That's sad. No, Bruno Famin, there we go. So Bruno Famin, the team principal, was replaced by Ollie Oakes. And it was all going bad, and they were just wanting to just score 4 points between now and the end of the season to jump Williams for 8th in the Constructors' Championship. And now, with 33 points in one race, they've gone up to 6th in the Constructors' Championship. And they are chasing 5th, which might be a bit difficult, but yeah, you never know. But I think they're probably going to finish 6th in the Constructors, which is great. They've jumped Williams and Haas and RB. Esteban Ocon was 2nd today. Pierre Gasly was 3rd. Great start from Gasly, up 4 places to P9. Ocon stayed out and led, and he aced. Well, they both stayed out at the red flag, and that meant that they led and were 2nd and changed their tyres. So the Alpine pit crew didn't do any work today, apart from building the cars and everything, but no pit stops today.
Yeah, that's how we roll, mate.
So they were the prize for take a bow and take a day off is for the Alpine pit crew, because this wasn't even needed. It was no wonder there's dust on it. Wasn't needed today. Only changed tyres in the pit. In the pits, so in the red flag, yeah. So yeah, great result for them. 3 tyre change on the red flag. Max got past, but both held on for brilliantly 2 and 3 and finished 3 seconds apart. They were not even amber gamblers, which is the funny thing. They were not. It was the 2 Toro or AlphaTauri, whatever they're called these days, and Lando Norris and George Russell, who were the amber gamblers on the start. So they're not even under investigation. So we know that they're going to keep their position. Not that Max Verstappen isn't, but yeah, they've moved up to 6th in the Constructors' Championship. Now I hope we can finish the notebook with the before this photo happens. So I should encourage them to do a photo. Right, while you have a look at the lovely trophies for 2nd and 3rd, Simon, I'll tell you what happened to Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso, car number 14, was 14th today, and I believe had to go to the medical centre or seek some sort of physio after the race ended, because he was in absolute agony with his back. Said so on the radio, but said he was going to finish the race for the mechanics. Lance Stroll had a suspected braking problem, and that's why he went off on the first formation lap, and he was out before the Grand Prix ever really got going. But Fernando ran well early on in P10, then was P9, survived all the red flags, dropped down with a locking up rear wheel, so he had brake issues as well. Rejoined last, 16 seconds behind Zhou Guangyu's Sauber, completely closed on Zhou Guangyu, destroyed that 15-second lead that Zhou had on him, overtook Zhou and finished ahead of him and just behind Valtteri Bottas. I will finish it for the mechanics, as he said, but the bouncing is not normal, and Fernando is in pretty ropey shape as he tries to get his back in order. Right, we've done Alpine. Let's do Williams. It's just next door, so if you can just sort of see them from there. Don't go too far, because we're really meant to be here for the Alpine photo. Well, the quicker I get through this, the better, really. It was a did not start for Alex Albon because of the crash he had in qualifying, and it was a did not finish for Franco Colapinto, who's stock and well, it's a fashion business, isn't it? Formula One, if you're a driver, and Franco's fashion isn't quite as fruity as it was a few weeks ago, because he's had a very difficult weekend. Great work from the mechanics to get Franco's car ready. He was up 4 places to P12, but then struggled with his front brakes locking up, pitted for the 2nd time and went off more or less on the lap after he pitted for new intermediates. Right, you can come back now, Simon, because it looks like we are going to be in position for a photo. I've even saved you a place, so here you go. You can come in and don't get in the way of the Alpine social media dude. Here we go, and you can see what's going on down here as we think, oh, back. It's the usual thing. come that way and that way, then you'll be in a nice position. Well, I tell you about RB, Yuki Tsunoda. Good day for RB. Yuki Tsunoda P7, Liam Lawson P9, and even though they've scored good points, doesn't really help them because they're still down 1 in the Constructors' Championship because of these guys. And Liam, a new intermediate start from P5, Yuki P3. And it was a mistake from Liam Lawson at the front while racing Yuki and let Leclerc through to P6. And it was a slow stop for Liam Lawson. The tyres weren't ready, but they got them on eventually. Yuki actually was fined twice for speeding in the pit lane on the formation lap. So I don't know what happened there, but luckily for him, it wasn't a time penalty in the race. Liam raced Sergio Perez again with Yuki ahead of them and got him. And so Lewis Hamilton got him as well. So good points, but down 1 in the constructors. Sauber, we're just waiting for the drivers. So I'll tell you what's happened to Sauber. There is Ollie Oates just reclining in that very nice reclining way on the bottom left-hand side, just by the Gasly P3 things. Looks quite sort of, it's very reclining. I think you can sit up, Ollie. There you go. And do you know what? I think for Alpine, well, let me tell you what happened to Sauber first of all. Valtteri Bottas P13, Zhou Guanyu P15. Valtteri dropped back early on and was a long race for him and finished 13th. Nothing really more to say. And Zhou Guanyu had bad luck at the start, ran last, took him many laps to get his tyres up to temperature, but eventually did. But all he could do was P15, last of the runners. There's a rumour going around that Audi are not going to give Valtteri Bottas the seat alongside Nico Hülkenberg next year, and instead that's going to go to the McLaren junior Gabriel Bortoleto. Oh, what? Immediately? They're not even waiting. This is how much it means. Don't even wait for the 1, 2, 3, yay. Nice. Yeah, Bortoleto to Audi, question mark. And Beat Zender is leaving, the long-time sporting director is leaving Sauber at the end of the year. So let's just enjoy this. What a story. 33 points in one day. More champagne, I think, for the French duo and the French team. And for everyone in Enstone, many congratulations. I hope you can enjoy this live with us as well as you head towards your evening in Oxfordshire, because you guys and girls there deserve this as well. And this release, this little bit of joy, this little bit of releasing of the pressure, and celebrate the good days when you can, because heaven knows we haven't had too many. But when it happens, it happens. When you get everything right. Yes, come on, Pierre. They'll do well to do Esteban on. He'll be almost hitting the gantry. There you go. This is lovely. Yeah, when you have these good days, double podium, you need to enjoy them, don't you? Just let it breathe for a sec. Oliver Behrman for Haas P12, a quote, "I'm such an idiot." He wasn't happy with his race because he made a few mistakes, and Hülkenberg was disqualified after he got outside help for some marshals and continued in the Grand Prix. Oliver Behrman, Nico Hülkenberg, good starts, up 2 and 4 places respectively, but Ollie Behrman had a clash with Franco Colapinto, was down to P17, 10 seconds penalty, and Hülkenberg was struggling with worn tyres, then got spun and got outside assistance. So well done, well, not well done, bad luck to them. Oliver Behrman spun on lap 36. Right, the next race is in Las Vegas, Nevada, so we will, in a couple of weeks' time, so we will leave you with these happy scenes from Alpine. And if I can, I'll just congratulate Esteban Ocon for finishing P2, because, well, I know you might have seen the feature where we actually, I drove the E20, and I told Esteban that now I know why they do it. And I think now I know, I can understand, even for a tiny bit, when it all comes good, even to driving these cars that haven't been great, when it comes good, it must taste even sweeter. And even for Esteban, who's on his way to a different team at the end of the year, that must taste pretty sweet. Well done, Esti. That must be amazing. A quick word before we go.
My guys before, but
we're going off air in 10 seconds. So I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's been
so much to not only these guys, but everybody in Enstone as well.
I know.
They're watching this. We're going out live.
I know. It's incredible, and yeah, we never kept pushing, guys. You know it. We gave our best every single time, and today we took the opportunity. So Thank you for coming on.
No. I just wanted to. We're gonna wrap it up. Say goodbye to everybody in Enstone. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to Esteban. Congratulations to Pierre as well. We'll leave you with the feel-good story of the day, and that's a double podium for the Alpine team. We'll see you in Las Vegas, Nevada, on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of November. But from all of us here in a damp, soggy São Paulo, we'll say goodbye.